This is our homily for September 10th, the 23rd Sunday in Ordinary Time. A little background before I begin. This weekend at St. Pius, we're celebrating what we call the Welcome Back Mass. It's a gathering of people again after summer activities, summer vacations, the pause in most council and commission meetings, etc. In the past, it was called the Grass Mass, and we had it outside. Since COVID, we've decided to keep it inside, and it's called the Welcome Back Mass, and is followed by a luncheon. At the annual Welcome Back Mass, Father Paul announced that the price for the luncheon would be $12 a person, but only $11.50 for those 65 and older. From the back of the congregation, a woman's voice cried out, "Do you really think I'd give you that information for only 50 cents? Well, this is our annual Welcome Back Mass. For most of us, it is a welcome back to normal routine after a summer of travel, vacation, and so on. Hopefully, there are some here whom we can welcome back after a longer absence. Our readings today are a perfect fit for what we're celebrating. Welcome back to community, because that is what we are at St. Pius, a community. And our readings help us understand why that's important. In our second reading today, St. Paul clearly presents what is arguably the central message of the gospel, and I quote, "Brothers and sisters, owe nothing to anyone except to love one another, for the one who loves another has fulfilled the law. The commandments, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not kill, you shall not steal, and whatever other commandment there may be, are summed up in this saying, namely, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no evil to the neighbor, hence love is the fulfillment of the law." End quote. Jesus comes back to this over and over. When asked what is the greatest commandment, he responds, love of God, but then quickly raises love of neighbor to the same level. That was new for the Jews. When asked who was a neighbor, he responded with the Good Samaritan. He ate with tax collectors and sinners. When we look at our world, at the fighting in Ukraine, shooting of people, unrest in the streets, the politics, it's obvious that our world needs this message. Today, Jesus presents a case that is particularly difficult. If your brother or sister sins against you. Think of brother or sister as people we know and associate with. And so this can happen in families, neighborhoods, workplaces, parish communities, and so on. And it's almost more difficult than helping or forgiving a stranger, because pride, hurt feelings, anger, and so on all come in. Often we do one of two things, or both together. We talk about it with other people, tearing the other person down, or we stew about it and let the negative feelings grow. Both of these make the situation worse. Jesus tells us to go and talk about it, but directly with the other person and try to work it out. He tells us to take actions that will restore the relationship, not actions that widen the gap caused by the original offense. It means controlling anger, swallowing righteous indignation, and approaching the other person in a way that invites peace, forgiveness, and unity. Those in a successful marriage or very close friends will tell you how important it is to be able to do this, because there are always differences and we hurt each other. We can't avoid it. So we need to be working at getting better at resolving things and forgiving others. It is hard, but community helps, as the end of our gospel shows. When we gather together to pray, Jesus is with us and will give us the strength we need to be loving and forgiving. So the reflection I invite us to this week: how am I at handling situations when I feel wronged by someone? Am I able to control my emotions and talk with the other person to resolve the difficulty? Or do I do the things that widen the gap? Am I building unity or worsening tensions and problems? Am I using my community to strengthen me as I grow in this? I end with a story that captures the point I am making in a perfect way. There once was an Indian chief known to be a fierce warrior who had killed countless enemies of his tribe. One day he decided it was time to teach his eldest son to be as fierce. So he called his son to his side and instructed him to go to the camp of the enemy tribe and kill 3 of them. The son went off as instructed, and the chief waited anxiously for his return. Several days later, his son approached the camp, laughing and talking with 3 warriors from the other tribe. His father was furious. "I thought I told you to destroy our enemies," he shouted. The son looked at his father and said, "But I did. They're now our friends." That's what happens when we really love our neighbors as ourselves. We become friends. Welcome back.